Hi, I'm Daddy Odin, and today we're going to be doing the AD2L content for Contenders edition. First up, we have the first game from Pot of Greed versus Drugs and Dota. Pot of Greed kind of swept this series. They went 2-0 against D&D. Pot of Greed being one of the high-ranking, probably like S or A tier team. In the Contenders division. They came runner-up last season. So looking at some great stuff being presented from Pot of Greed and looking for that rematch against WS's Kobolds. Looks like D&D tried to go for a last pick Broodmother, but it doesn't seem to have worked. Rob seems to have just popped off and the draft kind of fell apart or something like that. Oh, if you're watching this video, please go into AD2L content. Dr. Geo has kept different links for each of the divisions, Archon, Contender, Intermediate, and Divine, where you can show your voice and vote on who is your topmost teams, and the ranking list is generated by the community. So don't forget to go do that. The more people that do that, the more accurate the information is going to be. Game 2, the same story as Game 1. It's a complete sweep from Pot of Greed, getting them an easy series. A lot of Svens being picked, Sven being really strong, and Clinks. I think a lot of people will be going for this Clinks pick in Contenders. You eat a creep, you're kind of broken. You don't need that much items to just pop off and fight. Anyways, let's go to the next game. It was result-oriented Thinkers versus Savage Sabers. I actually casted this game, so I know a bit more about this game. Savage Sabers did really well early game. They had some misplays in the mid game at 20 minutes, and ROT was able to grab that small lead and snowball from them. Grody playing really well on the Juggernaut, was able to farm really nice, and good space was made for him. Game 2 was a similar situation. Savage Sabers had a really good lead. Oh wait. Yeah. Savage Sabers had a really good lead early on. And the Void from Growdy, phenomenal play. I think he was MVP of the series. Was able to get really good chronos, isolating the Luna and Kunkka in these chronos, and was able to do a lot of damage by himself. And just popped off. He went for a Battle Fury early BKB, which helped him a lot against the Savage Saber lineup, which was mostly magical damage. Next we have it to be decided versus Go5. I think Go5 does have really talented players, but their draft was a bit wonky. I think if they fix their draft, they are going to be a force to be reckoned with. But TBD, their support duo Biggie and their captain Impassable. I think his name is different in game. Gintry are really good. They played phenomenally, making space for their cores and saving these cores and initiating these awesome team fights. And Clockwork Pause Fire was really good. I believe after the game, I even talked with Seth Truthless about their game and how they did. And they said that they're also going to be starting to experiment this Clockwork to see how it's going to pay out. Game 2 was a similar story. TBD had much more lead, and Yoshi was just farming the same way he was able to farm in Drow. And Gentry was phenomenal on that Clockwork by creating space and killing some of the cores of Go5 as well. Next up, we have probably the most exciting game of week 2. WS's Kobolds versus GRIN Reavers. Both of these are franchise organizations in AD2L. I believe they have teams in all of the divisions. I'm not sure if GRIN has anything in Archon, but they do have a team in Intermediate, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe the series went 1-1. The game one was won by GRIN. Uh, they had the clinks, and looks like they went for this armor strat and overpowered WSS. My top three teams in this season 29 of AD2L Contenders is probably gonna be WSS, Cobalt, Grin Reavers, and Pot of Greed. So I would like to see them play against each other. Game two, WSS swept the game from Grin side. Looks like Dorth Heisenberg got a better support, and Dill was on his Morphling, so his most comfortable hero, and was able to just take the lead and snowball from there. Yeah. Grin's lineup was also a bit greedy, especially with the PA and Medusa, who like to have this early time to farm, and WSS was probably able to get better map control early on to finish the game faster. Next, we have Wasted versus Petting Zoo Rejects Feeder Team. I'm not sure if this is a franchise like WSS GRIN, but they do have some of the old Petting Zoo Reject players like Oxy and Mercy. So I'm assuming they're like a sister or brother team. Looks like Wasted was able to get a really easy win. Looks like looks like a sweep from the side of Wasted. I believe Wasted is also one other franchise that is there, or one other organization in AD2L which has a team in intermediate as well. And game two was a bit more even, at least on the kill scale, but Wasted was able to get the win with the last pick IO. As soon as I saw the last pick IO, I really wanted it to be a core IO, but they had the Gyrocopter and Storm, so our core IO dream was not something that happened. Interesting. After game one loss, looks like they made Sharky go on this core role instead of support. Probably just to switch it up or something like that. Next, we have the original team, the Petting Zoo Rejects, go against FOTP. This was a really long game. It was an 80-minute game where the Lifesteal made a Divine Rapier, and he fed the Divine Rapier to the Medusa, or he died carrying the Divine Rapier to Medusa, who got two Divine Rapiers and was able to end the game. Really exciting team fights. I saw the vodcast that was made by the caster team. I believe Kaiser and Greybush were the people who were casting it. I'm sorry, not Kaiser. Greybush and someone else was casting it. Game two, it went in favor with PZR. PZR took the early lead and were able to hold on to that early lead and just kept snowballing against FOTP. The Terrorblade got too strong, too far ahead, and the PA was not able to do much damage, even with Magnus. Next up we have our Rotors of Rohan versus Two Boots. Two Boots is the old extra knives, or the partial extra knives team, who joined with some new players. And Rotors of Rohan were able to close both games. Looks like it was an even matchup. Both teams were fighting neck and neck, and Rotors of Rohan were able to close game one and game two, where game two they had much more of a snowball effect, and the Spectre just went really strong. Okay, next we have the week 3 predictions. First game we have result-oriented Tingers versus Pot of Greed. I believe Pot of Greed is a much more skill team than result-oriented Tinkers. Result-oriented Tinkers in their game, they made a couple of mistakes. they kind of get too greedy or chase someone too deep. And if they are able to change that, I believe they can probably snatch a game from Pot of Greed. But I think Pot of Greed is much more a disciplined team, and they know they have their strategy already fixed and set out. Next, we have Petting Zoo Rizik's feeder team versus Savage Sabers. I think this game might go 1-1. I believe Savage Sabers are still trying to figure out their new roster and how they work. They're still doing some mistakes in the mid game and losing their early lead. If they're able to fix those small mistakes, I believe they should be able to run away with a 2 and full series victory. Next, we have Wasted Youth versus D&D. I believe Wasted Youth is a better team than D&D, especially D&D lost their pause 5. I'm not sure if they still found one, so week 3 might be a bit shaky for them, especially bringing in a new player and seeing how their team synergy goes with this new player. So that's why I kept 2-0. And there's a high possibility D&D might be able to take a game from Wasted Youth. Next, we have WSS Cobalts versus To Be Decided. I kept 1-1 the series. TBD has been playing really well. Their support duo is really strong with Biggie and Gentry. I'm really excited to see or even recast this game, or see the cast of this game, and really hyped about that. Next, we have GRIN Reavers versus Routers of Rohan. I think GRIN is a better team, or more disciplined team than Routers of Rohan. And I think the meta or the picks that GRIN goes are really meta favorable for them. So I think GRIN Reaver will be able to take this 2-0 win from Routers of Rohan. Next up, we have GoFi versus PZR. I think GoFi has a really high chance of 2-0ing the series if they are able to make sure they check all the boxes during their drafting phase. Each player in Go5 is really skilled and talented. They just need to pick the right heroes so that they maintain the lead that Scotty is able to bring from the mid lane. Next up, we have Tilted Gaming versus Two Boots. I'm not sure if this game will even go on because week 2, Tilted Gaming forfeited their game. So I'm not sure if there's some kind of problem with their roster. From looking at it, they did have someone who was unranked, so maybe they're still trying to get their roster fully fixed. But if this game does go, I think it's evenly matched up. 2 teams are evenly matched up, and it should be either 1-1, or if Two Boots have a better draft, it should go in this favor of Two Boots, making it a 0-2 series. Lastly, we have FOTP versus AMHLC. I think this series is gonna go 1-1. All my homies like Crack did do really well in season 28, and they didn't go against really big teams like Pot of Greed, and I believe they also went against GRIN Reavers in week 1. So they've been going against really good teams in the start of the season 29. So maybe that's why they didn't win that many games. But I think this is a 1-1 game, unless JoJo does something really meme or bad, making them lose the game and making it a 0-2 series. Thank you for watching the AD2L Contenders edition. I hope I made it short and sweet. I will keep... And I'm sorry if I offended anyone with anything I said. These are something I just noticed from all the stats and made my predictions. And don't forget to go into AD2L content. Go to Dr. Geo's post. He will post it every week so that you can make your ranking list of all the teams in Archon, Contenders, and Intermediate, as well as Divine. Thank you and have a nice day.